on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
MP hospitalized. Geeta Kumarasinghe suffers burns in domestic accident. What's the point? Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa indifferent about his participation in SLFP anniversary celebrations. Difference of opinion. Minister Samarasinghe says government's stance on General Jayasuriya is not the opinion of Minister Fonseca. Takes two to tango. Russia accuses US of instigating political unease. New heights. Pole vaulter Anita breaks her own record at the National Athletics Championship. Bring you news from home and across the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7. Good evening, I'm Katharina Chang, and before we get into our locals tonight, we would like to wish our Muslim viewers Eid Mubarak. And of course, with the sighting of the new moon, the Islamic community across Sri Lanka celebrates the festival of Eid al-Adha today, commemorating sacrifice to Allah. While countries including India and Pakistan celebrated the festival today, Muslims in other parts of the world celebrated yesterday.
The festival of Eid al-Adha coincides with the climax of the Hajj, the sacred journey to Mecca in Saudi Arabia that around 2 million Muslims undertake each year. The Islamic community of Sri Lanka engaged in religious observances across the country. Releasing an official message for Eid al-Adha, President Maithripala Sirisena stated that the message given by the Hajj is to socialize mutual bonds in a world where only divisions are seen. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said in his own message that Hajj is a time for reflection and unity, not only for Muslims but for all citizens. Opposition leader R. Sampanthan called on Sri Lankans to embrace the spirit of Hajj and cherish each other's diversity. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa stated Hajj was a time for devotees from all over the world to gather, regardless of race, language and social status. Meanwhile, yesterday, thousands of Muslims in Mina in Saudi Arabia carried out the stoning of the devil ritual to mark the beginning of Eid al-Adha celebrations across the world.
UPFA parliamentarian Geeta Kumarasinghe is currently hospitalized with severe burns from a domestic accident which occurred last night. A hospital spokesperson, however, stated that the MP's condition is not critical.
Parliamentarian Geeta Kumarasinghe suffered severe burns from a gas cylinder explosion at her residence in Navala at about 8 p.m. last night. She was admitted to a private hospital in Colombo and is currently receiving treatment at the intensive care unit.
Her arms and leg were burned. She has been admitted to the ICU due to fears of infection as well as to avoid attention. She has undergone plastic surgery for the burns.
Meanwhile, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and UPFA MP Uday Gammanpila called on MP Kumarasinghe today.
The chairman of the All-Island Canteen Owners Association, Astela Sampath, today attempted to justify the decision to increase the price of a packet of food, having yesterday announced a hike of 10 rupees in response to the gazetting of a ban on polythene. Sampath addressed media in Colombo today.
Polythene
We agree with the polythene ban, but we are against the ban on lunch sheets, and only one party benefiting from the ban. What right do those 16 people have to say that they are banned? Did they consult canteen owners, businessmen, polythene manufacturers or consumers? There isn't a proper program for this, and it is completely wrong. That's why we are going to increase the price of a packet of food by 10 rupees. Lunch sheets can be recycled and used for manufacturing toys, which are imported from China. Instead, they import sheets from Canada and Germany. This is one of the sheets they are going to introduce. We don't know whether this sheet is hazardous or not. Where is the recommendation of the chairman of the Central Environmental Authority and the 16 elites? All of a sudden, they said polythene is banned, but didn't say what the alternative for it is. Around 120 million is used daily. When polythene is not, our water bill increases. Who's going to pay it? We'll buy this sheet for 7 rupees if they give us a guarantee. It's okay to create new businesses, but not by destroying existing ones.
President Maithripala Sirisena says the Indian Ocean region must be transformed into a maritime zone of peace and a hub for the advancement of humankind. The President made the remarks addressing the valedictory session of the 2017 Indian Ocean Conference held at Temple Trees yesterday.
This year's Indian Ocean Conference, which discussed the peace and security of the Indian Ocean region, was held under the theme of peace, progress and prosperity. About 300 local and foreign delegates participated in the conference. The National General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Ram Madhav, presented a special memento to the President.
We value interracial peace in all countries. We all are committed to realize international unity, reconciliation, fraternity and security. The Sri Lankan government and people are committed to achieving the goals of the 2017 Indian Ocean Summit.
Meanwhile, today President Maithripala Sirisena vested the Ruhunuketha Tourist Bungalow in the Mahaweli B zone in the public. The online booking service for the Mahaweli Tourist Bungalows, which is operated by the Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority and the Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka, was also launched at the event. President Sirisena also took part in the commencement of constructions of a new Samadhi Buddha statue in Manampitiya in Polonnaruwa. The foundation stone was laid by Chief Minister of the North Central Province, Peshela Jayaratne.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe points out that Sri Lankans have a responsibility towards safeguarding prominent Buddhist heritage sites such as Lumbini in Nepal. The Premier made the remarks today while speaking on the conservation of religious sites at a function held in Kuliyapitiya.
A ceremony was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe to unveil the renovated sermon hall of the Dandagammu Sudharmarama temple in Kuliyapitiya. The sermon hall was renovated by the Central Cultural Fund. Ministers Akhila Viraj Karyavasam and SB Navina were also present.
There is a commendable law in Andhra Pradesh in India where underfinanced places of worship are given part of funds accumulated by the likes of Tirupati with superior financial capabilities. Especially, we now have to help Nepal. It will enable our Sangha and the public to visit and worship Lumbini and Kapilavastu. If Muslims and Arabs can protect Mecca, and if Christians and Jews protect Jerusalem, it is our responsibility to start conservations of Lumbini and Kapilavastu along with the Mahaviharya in Anuradhapura and Dibulagala.
The 66th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is scheduled to be held tomorrow at Campbell Park. Event organisers say all preparations are in place for the celebrations. The anniversary will begin at 1:30 p.m. under the patronage of the chairman of the party, President Maithripala Sirisena.
The 66th anniversary of the SLFP is themed a pure and clean national political campaign for the future of the country. Preparations for anniversary celebrations at Campbell Park were overseen by senior party members.
In the preliminary discussions, the President told us not to use state property. He instructed us to pay if we do use state resources. Accordingly, we have provided all necessary funds to obtain 2,300 buses from the Sri Lanka Transport Board alone. Joint opposition MPs alleged that we didn't invite them. We called on former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at his residence and invited him for a second time. We also couriered invitations to joint opposition MPs for the second time. They should personally decide if they will come or not. If there is someone who doesn't come, that would be a person who doesn't want to strengthen the party.
Minister of Ports and Shipping Mahinda Samarasinghe today said that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa should accept the invitation to attend the SLFP anniversary celebrations if he considers himself to be a member of the party. The minister made the remark at a media briefing held in Colombo.
Members of the party have now realized that they should support not any individual but the party itself. A national party cannot move forward with extremist ideologies. We saw how SLFP was embedded with these kinds of extremist ideas during the final period of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's tenure. Some of our own members didn't vote for him after seeing the prevalent nepotism. I view that comment as rather childish. Earlier, he said he wasn't invited. Minister Duminda Disanayake told the newspapers today that the former president's invitation has been given to him. If he considers himself to be a party member, he should react accordingly.
During the first period, the government presented a set of proposals to the university students as well as the GMOA, but they didn't accept it. Now, President Maithripala Sirisena has appointed a special committee presided over by Dr. Harsha De Silva. They have been asked to propose a definite solution within 10 days. This government, along with all the other former governments, have accepted private education as a policy.
Now, with the anniversary of the SLFP beckoning, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa is of the view that there are more pressing issues in the country which upstage the party's anniversary celebrations. He expressed these views to media following a visit to the Facets International Gem and Jewellery Exhibition at the BMICH in Colombo today.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa attended the exhibition and later responded to questions raised by journalists. He was asked whether a seat is allocated for him at the 66th anniversary celebrations of the SLFP.
There are more issues in the country right now than the anniversary celebrations. It's not important to the country. It doesn't matter whether I attend or not. There are more pressing issues such as their attempts to prosecute war heroes. The reason is the removal of relief we had provided for the industry. Another reason is the way this government deals with foreign countries such as China. The sector was developed with China's contribution. Creating issues with these countries lead to them retaliating. I don't point my finger at him. It's a scam done by others of the government as well.
Let's now cross over to a short commercial break. Welcome back to the news. Minister of Ports and Shipping Mahinda Samarasinghe emphasizes that opinions expressed by Minister Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca on General Jagat Jayasuriya is not the stance of the government. He was among the many politicians who expressed views on Minister Fonseca's recent comment against the former army commander.
Public knows who Sarath Fonseca is. They even know how many votes he got during the previous general election. He was the first to betray the Sri Lankan army by revealing the white flag story. And then he says he would give evidence against General Jagat Jayasuriya. The country should condemn any person who makes such remarks despite their party, race or religion.
We don't want to oblige to any foreign influence. We would like to tell any foreigner that we will stand by all Tri-Forces personnel for duties carried out in line with their service description. But if they had committed any murders or other crimes on a personal level, violating the country's legal system, we should then take action against them. Law of the country does not allow any army officials to engage in crimes using their ranks.
Is Mr. Fonseca giving evidence against General Jayasuriya for eradicating terrorism and saving lives of our citizens? We say one thing to Mr. Fonseca. Give your evidence against General Jagat Jayasuriya and then take him before the International Criminal Court. We will pull people together against you along with all religious leaders in the country.
Government stance is to not betray any of our Triforce personnel. We all know they never exploited civilians to get rid of terrorism. They all did a huge service for the country. I don't know if Minister Sarath Fonseca has any important reason to make such a comment. And this is his personal opinion. The Cabinet of Ministers hasn't discussed this.
The government is silent when they're accusing General Jagat Jayasuriya of fake war crimes and filing court cases. It doesn't matter which government is in power, it should stand against any foreign nation if any of our army personnel who protected this country are being wrongly accused. Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca says that he will give evidence against General Jagat Jayasuriya. He is the only Field Marshal in the history of the world ready to give evidence against an army led by him.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca and General Jagat Jayasuriya both immensely served this country. We were able to end the war with their leadership. We don't know whether they have any personal conflict. None of us have any right to say General Jayasuriya was involved in any war crimes. We'll be able to solve this matter with the President's involvement. No one wants to bring a no-confidence motion. We'll be able to solve it. This doesn't have to be a big issue.
The Ministry of Finance and Mass Media issued a statement today saying that discretionary powers vested with ministers to grant tax concessions will be removed through the new Inland Revenue Bill. The statement raises the question as to whether parliamentarian Bandula Gunawardena has forgotten when the previous government granted considerable tax concessions to foreign nations through the Strategic Development Act. Now, the Ministry of Finance and Mass Media also said that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and his followers are making inaccurate comments to mislead the public because of their dissatisfaction with the removal of these discretionary powers. The statement went on to say that even the finance minister will lose the power to grant tax breaks once the bill is passed. On to other local news now. The Department of Examinations has imposed a lifetime ban on the student involved in leaking this year's advanced level chemistry paper. The student will be barred from facing any public examination conducted by the Department of Examinations.
The advanced level student was arrested and remanded in connection with the leak of the chemistry paper, which he sent pictures of to his tutor. The police discovered that the tutor received the pictures on his private tab via a mobile device. Commissioner General of Examinations WMNJ Pushpakumara said that the student will not be able to sit for any public examination organized by the Department of Examination.
Now let's take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Four individuals advertised the sale of a vehicle and robbed a group of prospective buyers of 100,000 rupees. The incident took place in Padavia, Anuradhapura, and Padavia police arrested the four suspects while they were celebrating their crime in Paniyan Kadavala. The 117th Randoli procession of the Kotte Rajamahavihara was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe last night. Several ministers were present at the event, and the last of the series, the Sri Dalada procession, will take to the street tonight. Yala National Park closed yesterday for 2 months as a result of the extremely dry weather conditions. According to the Wildlife Conservation Department, the park will reopen on the 31st of October. The Palatupana and Katagamo entrances leading to blocks 1 and 2 will be closed, while Galge and Yala West entrances to blocks 3 and 5 remain open for visitors.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warns that his country would respond harshly to any US measures designed to hurt it. The remark came after the US ordered the closure of Russia's San Francisco consulate and annexes in New York and Washington.
Addressing a gathering of students in Moscow, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Russia will react to the latest US measures as soon as they had analyzed the situation.
We sincerely want the bilateral political atmosphere to become normal. But, as you know, it takes two to tango. As for now, it looks to me that our American partners perform individual breakdowns time after time. This exchange of tit-for-tat sanctions was not started by us. It was started by the Obama administration to make it as difficult as possible for US President Donald Trump to fulfill his pre-election pledges on normalizing relations with Russia.
Let's take a look at some other stories making news across the world.
Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta said today that the country has a problem with its judiciary that must be fixed, and yesterday called Kenya's Supreme Court judges crooks at a rally in Nairobi. Kenyatta, however, said he would respect the Supreme Court ruling which declared last month's presidential election invalid, null and void, and ordered that ballots be held within 60 days. US President Donald Trump has asked Congress for $7.8 billion as an initial payment to help with recovery efforts following flooding in Texas and Louisiana. Officials say that there will be further requests for funds when the full extent of Hurricane Harvey becomes known, with at least 47 people confirmed dead and 43,000 being housed in shelters. And Russian President Vladimir Putin will not attend this month's United Nations General Assembly in New York, as per quotes attributed to his spokesperson today. US President Donald Trump, a frequent critic of the United Nations, will seek to gather global support for reforming the world body when he hosts an event at UN headquarters in New York on the 18th of this month, a day before he formally addresses the 193-member organization.
The US Federal Reserve yesterday finalized a new rule that aims to make it easier to wind down systematically important US banks by creating a safe harbor for financial contracts after firm defaults. The decision forms part of global post-crisis efforts to end too big to fail institutions that are so large and complex they could endanger the entire financial system if they fall into bankruptcy.
The rule requires global systematically important banks to amend the language in common financial contracts so they cannot be immediately cancelled if the firm enters bankruptcy. By imposing new legal protections, regulators aim to prevent a run on a bank's subsidiaries that could be triggered if a large number of counterparties rush to terminate their contracts, as occurred in the case of Lehman Brothers in 2008. As banks sign a huge number of such deals, typically worth hundreds of billions of dollars, a market panic to terminate them could potentially drag down other institutions. The rule applies to a range of products including derivatives, securities lending deals, and short-term funding agreements that are privately negotiated rather than processed through a central clearing house.
The pole vaulter Anita Jagadishwaran set the first national record of the 95th National Athletic Championship yesterday. Anita bettered her way on her own record of 3.46 meters by centimeter to set the new national record in pole vault.
Anita set a new record at the Diagama Stadium last year with a height of 3.46 meters in the women's pole vault. She broke her own record at the 95th National Athletics Championship by recording a height of 3.47 meters. SP Ranasinghe of Sri Lanka Air Force settled for a silver, while C. Derana clinched the bronze medal.
The Mercantile Cricket Association B Division 50-over league tournament will kick off at the MCA grounds on the 9th of this month. Handing over of the official sponsorship cheque took place during a media conference on Wednesday at the Mercantile Cricket Association in the presence of MCA President Niran Mahavatta, General Secretary Nalin Wickramasinghe and Chairman of the Tournament Committee Sujiva De Silva.
The tournament, title sponsored by Unilever Fair and Lovely Men, will be played at the MCA and 8 other venues with 7 teams battling it out for the trophy. John Keel's B, Powertech Cement, Mobitel A, MAS Silhouetta A, Singer A, Commercial Credit B and Unilever Sri Lanka will face one another in 21 matches during the preliminaries between the 9th of September and the 4th of October. The top 4 teams will qualify for the semi-finals scheduled on the 8th and 11th of October, while the final will be played at the MCA grounds on the 14th of October.
Maria Sharapova's return to Grand Slam tennis continued with an upstick in form at Flushing Meadows yesterday, and the returning Petra Kvitova also looked strong in advancing to the 4th round. In the men's draw, Canada's exciting teenage talent Denis Shapovalov became the youngest man to reach the 4th round at the US Open since Michael Chang in 1989, but former champion Marin Cilic was knocked out.
Maria Sharapova showed a trademark mix of grit and power to win in the 3rd round of the US Open yesterday after struggling past the first 2 rounds. American teenager Sofia Kenin fell 7-5, 6-2 to the Russian, who goes on to face 16th seed Anastasia Sevastova. Petra Kvitova, another player returning to the big stage, also hit her groove yesterday as she blew past 18th seed Caroline Garcia 6-love, 6-4 to book her place in the 4th round at Flushing Meadows. Meanwhile, in the men's draw, Denis Shapovalov progressed after his British opponent Kyle Edmund retired, with the score between the pair at 3-6, 6-3, 6-3, 1-love. And finally, former champion Marin Cilic paid the price for a lack of match practice after he skipped the Montreal and Cincinnati tournaments, losing 4-6, 7-5, 7-5, 6-4 against Argentina's Diego Schwartzman.
Let's now cross over to Sheila Fernando at the Other Derana Weather Centre.
A very good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Temperatures are expected to vary between 21 and 32 degrees Celsius over the next 24 hours. Thundershowers will occur in most parts of the island with temporarily localized strong winds also expected. Showers also can be expected in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces along with the Galle, Matara and Jaffna districts, with heavy falls being expected in areas of the central, Uva and north central provinces and in the Vaunia, Muletiu and Trincomalee districts. That's it from the Weather Centre tonight. Let's now take a look at your city-by-city forecast.
And before we go, we'd like to take you to the town of Nihapa in El Salvador, where hundreds participated in the annual Fireball Festival on Thursday under the watchful eye of paramedics. The festival replays a huge volcanic eruption in 1917 that destroyed the town. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.